Right, let's take you to faraway lands now. That's all the way to Italy, Rome to be specific. Cardinals there will spend their first night at the two Casa Santa Martas at the Vatican City. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And that's where they will be accommodated for the duration of the conclave. The process of electing the next pontiff will kick off tomorrow, with the first mass starting at 10 a.m. One person who has almost become a resident of Rome is Linda Mnisi, who has been door-stopping cardinals throughout the day today, along with international media, and he joins us now. Linda, good evening to you. I really wish I was in your position, but talk to us about the cardinals that you have been door-stopping today. Very interesting comments indeed about the next pontiff and the kind of a person that some of them are wishing he could be. Talk to us more about that first.
Well, Polly, you'd remember that these discussions form part of the pre-conclave meetings that they've been having. And it's important that during the stage that they engage about what the future of the church will be and is likely to look like, and in fact what they want in a leader going forward. So the discussions about the qualities and the characteristics of the next pontiff have been one of the recurring themes that were discussed in these general congregations that have been taking place even during the morning period. And essentially what they want really, some will tell you that they basically want a balance, of Pope Francis, Pope Benedict and their predecessors, really in trying to stabilize and while making sure that the rules of the church are adhered to, but still also making sure that you meet people where they are, like Pope Francis would do. So it seems as though there hasn't been a decision really to steer clear away from the lines of Pope Francis and what he stood for, which is basically taking the church to a journey really on the periphery. It's rather about how the work that he has done can be taken forward. And one of the interesting comments made by one of the cardinals that was passing here at the St. Peter's Square was the fact that they are hoping that whoever will be elected Pope, whoever will be at the Sistine Chapel and has been attending these general congregations, is really hearing, the cardinals and what exactly it is that they want from the leader of the church. They are hoping that in these conversations, the next pontiff who is amongst them will, of course, take heed the calls to really take the church forward, but also to tackle the challenges that are faced by the world today. You'd recall Pope Francis, visited a number of war-stricken countries. I'll start with Africa, for example. In 2015, he visited the Central African Republic. That's where, there was warring religious factions there, calling for peace. In 2019, he was in South Sudan, also preaching the message of peace. And one of the things in his call for peace that he did, which sparked a lot of controversy, is how he kissed the feet of previously warring leaders. And so the expectation is that the next pontiff will move along the lines of really understanding the challenges of the world, understanding that there are some corners of the world that are troubled, and one of which that they raised today was the issue between Russia and Ukraine, saying that they're quite uncomfortable and not satisfied really with the church's position when it comes to these two warring countries. You'd recall that the Ukrainian president was here during the funeral service of Pope Francis, and they're indicating today that they are unhappy really, or unsatisfied with where the church is in terms of that. But also one of the key issues that was discussed and seems to also be a recurring theme is the issue of the finances of the church. The leader, the next leader, will have to take control of the finances of the church. He's basically right at the helm of this institution that has about 1.4 billion members, only. So there is a large amount of money, if I may put it that way, that will in fact have to be under the guidance of the next pope. So what is the current financial situation, and what do the cardinals in fact make of the financial status of the church? Take a listen.
Transparency in terms of these are financial matters. We need also the experts to advise us how to move forward and how to ensure that we have sufficient finance to continue the mission of the church. Because at the end of the day, it's not about money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a mission.
Yeah.
So in order for us to foster the mission, in order for us to make this mission possible, we need to have finance.
Yeah.
But I can tell you honestly, the real problem is not finance.
Yeah.
Finance in terms of accountability, yes, we need to. The real challenge is if we give people a real encounter with the Lord, if they really experience Jesus in their life and the good news, they will give everything.
Yeah.
It's because the faith is not a living faith.
Yeah.
And so because they have not encountered Jesus, if you ask them to give some money, they'll give a bit.
Interesting views indeed. Linda, finally and quickly, if you can, how close are we to learning who the next pope might be?
Well, it's going to take a bit of some time, Oli, because we understand that the first Mass will be held at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's where, the congregation will be praying for the conclave, the process of electing the next Pontiff. At 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, that's when the Cardinals will be summoned to the Sistine Chapel, and that's where the voting process will start. So, by all indications, there is an expectation that the next Pope will not come tomorrow, although the process will start tomorrow. In the coming days, then, there's an expectation that perhaps, in the next 2 to 3 days, there will be the next Pope. But, of course, that depends on the decision that will be made by the Cardinals. 2/3 majority is what is needed, really, to appoint the next Pope. And this vote is by secret ballot as per the constitution of the country. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot of black smoke before we see white smoke.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much. Live for us in Rome, that's in Italy. Thank you very much indeed.